this module, we're going to go over inserting and deleting things from Excel, cells, rows, and columns. It's pretty straightforward, but there are a couple little subtleties that I think we need to go over. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm on the Insert and Delete tab of my workbook. And I've got two little columns here, apples, oranges, bananas, peaches, pears, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to just delete or remove bananas here. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is just kind of clear that out. Now this is one thing in Excel that's a little misleading. You have a delete key on your keyboard. In this case, what delete does is it actually clears the cell. It doesn't delete it. And you'll see the difference here in just a second. So I'll be on bananas. I'll hit my delete key on my keyboard and it goes away. Everything else stays in place. The 3's in place, the peaches, the pears, all that. Okay? So delete key actually clears whatever you're on. And if you highlight multiple cells, your delete key can clear those too. Okay? Now I'm going to Control Z to do undo twice to get that back. And let's talk about delete and how that's different. So if I wanted to actually delete bananas, let me right click on bananas and I have my delete command in my shortcut menu. I'll click that. And now there's 4 options. We're going to look at all these. The first one says shift cells left and then shift cells up. Let's do shift cells left first. Watch what happens. When I do that, the 3 from column G moved over to column F. And everything else on this worksheet moved over when we did the delete. Okay? Let's do Control Z to get that back. And let's try the other way. Let's right click and go delete. Now this time I'm going to shift cells up and watch what happens. Okay, so here, same thing kind of happened. We got rid of bananas altogether, peaches and pears moved up to fill it, but look what happened down here in my big table that I have underneath there. I didn't even know it was going to be affected, but now it screwed up this entire table because I deleted and moved the cell up, and I moved everything up. Okay, so let's hit the Control Z to go back. So sometimes you just want to clear a cell out and not have anything change. Sometimes you actually do need to delete the whole thing. Okay, so now let's go down and see how this works with tables and columns and rows. I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of this because it'll just be confusing as we do this. But now let's say that I want to delete an entire column from a table or from the worksheet. Now I can just click on, somewhere in this column. I'm going to delete this ship date column. I can right click on that and go to delete. And instead of doing shift cells left or up, I can do entire row or entire column. So I'll do the entire column. And that did that, and it shifted everything to the left when I deleted that. So you see how that other column moved over. Okay? Now the same thing that I could do is I could actually insert the same way. So if I right click on ship date, I can go to insert, and you get the same choices here. You get shift cells right, down, entire row, or entire column. Well, let's try this real quick. Let's just shift the cells to the right and click OK. So what this did is it inserted just this cell and it shifted all these headings over. So now all my headings are completely wrong. So again, you have to be really not super careful, but you just have to understand if you're inserting or deleting one cell or an entire column. Let's get that back with Control Z. And now I'll right click on that and I'm going to insert an entire column. So I'll click that and click OK. And it moved over and made room so I can put my formula back in here and keep working with this table. Okay, one last thing I do want to show you guys is that whenever you're doing something, some math or some kind of formula or something, things will adjust. So I'm going to delete this column again and I'm going to show you guys another shortcut. Instead of just doing the insert and delete from the shortcut menu, if you right click on the column heading or the row heading, you can go right to delete and it'll just remove that entire column. That's probably the easiest way to do things. And I can do that here on the rows as well. I can just right click and hit delete. Okay, I'm gonna undo that though. So now the last thing I want to show you is how formulas will adjust when you insert or delete cells, okay? So give me just a second. I'm going to prepare some data for you and then we'll look at it, okay? So now I've put a sum function in, and if you look at that sum function, it's adding up from G8 to G11. So If I want to put some more fruits in there, I can insert them, put them down, and adjust my formula. But one trick that works is if I insert a row before the end of that table. So if I click here, if I right click and insert, and I add something there, Excel automatically adjusted that range because it could tell I'm inserting some cells within my sum formula. So go ahead and make that G8 to G12 instead of just G8 to G11. All right, well, that's it. Ready for the next one.